ATP, what it do with your boy Clay More Rain, back at you guys with another one. Shout out to all my subscribers. If this is your first time tapping into the content, I do invite you to go ahead, take a moment, hit that subscribe button, hit your bell icons as well, so you are getting alerts when all this content is dropping. So look, Eddie Hearn comes out. Man, hold on a second here. Let's do it the right way, right? Let's not play any games. Is this it right here? Is this it? Let's see here. Share, right? Let's hit play.
I mean, that's, unfortunately, after the Stanionis fight, he had his, team around him, the doctors, the tests, and what they're basically saying is Boots is underperforming to his capabilities. You saw him on Fight Week. Like, it doesn't take a genius to see that it's hard work, right? And the amazing thing is he did that to Stanionis at 50% of his physical capabilities. Just Boots is moving up. I mean, that's...
Well, it is what it is. You heard it straight from Eddie Hearns, promoter of Jaron Boots Ennis. Looks like Eddie Hearns is putting it out there pretty much on Front Street that we should be expecting to see Jaron Boots Ennis step out at 154 pounds. Word on the street is they're looking at making it happen in sometime in September, August, keeping Jaron Boots busy. Who's he going to be fighting against? Well, they have brought up the likes of Virgil Ortiz, obviously, which is a fight that Jaron Boots Ennis walked away from, if you guys recall, a little over 6 months ago when he took the option of fighting, not only fighting his actual mandatory in Karen Kugadajian to defend his IBF title, but also to fight Stanionis to unify now a unified lineal welterweight champion. People have been talking in the streets, especially as of late, with Teofimo Lopez pushing to have a Jaron Boots Ennis fight. We know that Jaron Boots Ennis moved away from that fight. The boxing space has been split in the middle, 50-50. A lot of people feel like Jaron Boots Ennis did the right thing by not taking that fight, stating that he should either push for the unification with one of the other champions, and if that wasn't going to be available for him to go ahead and move to 154 pounds. Word out in the street is that Jaron Boots Ennis has not been making the weight as easily as he's done in the past. Now, you leave it to Jaron Boots Ennis and his team, as far as his father, trainer, Bozy Ennis, to speak on it. They'll say that he makes the weight no problem. But just like Eddie Hearn said in this, we've seen how it looks fight week with Jaron Boots Ennis. He doesn't look like the weight is coming off as easy as he used to, and he's looking a lot more depleted as a fighter. Now, doctors and the people around Jaron Boots Ennis, according to Eddie Hearns, have been advising the fighter that Jaron Boots Ennis has not been 100% the version of himself that he could be, right? And just like Eddie Hearn said in that video right there, him being able to perform against a Stanionis at 50% or maybe 50 to 70% capacity in comparison to what he would look at 100%, there's only so long you can keep on pushing that narrative, and you have to start asking yourself a question: why? Jaron Boots Ennis has been at 147 pounds for his whole career, and at one point in time was in the conversation of fighting the likes of Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. We know he got caught up in that crazy love triangle where Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford were coordinating to have an undisputed champion, a fight of the era, right? That was getting lined up for. And unfortunately, Jaron Boots Ennis, wrong timing for him. Took a while for him to actually find himself in position to get a belt. Ultimately ended up being emailed a belt as the IBF went ahead and stripped Terrence Crawford of his IBF title, and Jaron Boots Ennis, holding that interim title, did go ahead and get elevated up to a full champion. He didn't want to leave the division that way. He doesn't want to be emailed a championship, so he worked his way with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom to try to find him a way to get inside of a fight that would put him, not only unify him in the division, but give him his first title that he actually earned inside of the ring. We saw him do that recently with Emanianis Stanionis, also earning him a lineal championship. Did this satiate Jaron Boots Ennis's needs at 147? There's been pressure from the boxing space, including from yours truly, to want to see Jaron Boots Ennis go ahead and do like David Benavidez did. If you can't get the opportunities at 147 pounds, well, then move up to 154 pounds, right? But you can't fault the man if he gets an opportunity to unify in his division and hang back. And he's been hanging back, recently hiring a nutritionist to make that weight comfortably, fighting against Emanianis Stanionis. So I knew that this was coming sooner or later. Wasn't too sure if he'd hang back and negotiate with Brian Norman, being that we know Brian Norman Jr. is getting ready to fight in Japan against Jin Sasaki in 2 weeks. I don't know if they were going to wait on that and see if they can negotiate something with the Normans. Well, according to Eddie Hearn and what he just said right there, it looks like that might not be on the table for them, that they might go ahead and pass on negotiating this fight with Brian Norman and just move ahead and go to 154 pounds. So a question has to be on top of your head. Where does he go at this point at 154 pounds? Who does he fight? Will it be Virgil Ortiz? Guys, Virgil Ortiz recently had some surgery to one of his hands. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm sure he's almost healed up right now, but doesn't look like he'll be available to book and sign a contract for a fight for September, August. So I know Eddie Hearn and I know Jaron Boots Ennis love the activity. They want to keep him busy. And why not get him a fight at 154 pounds? Which fight would it be? Me personally, I'm leaning towards the light of a Yoenis Tellez. That's why I believe he should fight. He can leverage that WBA title that he recently just won off Stan Yoenis up at 154 pounds. Yoenis Tellez is sitting on an interim or regular WBA title. We know the real champion, the WBA champion in the 154-pound weight class division right now is Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence is getting ready to fight against Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds, challenging Canelo Alvarez for that undisputed super middleweight championship. That fight to kick off in September. So this would put him in the right position, in my opinion. You fight Yoenis Tellez on the back end of a victory. You, as an interim champion, put yourself in a position to either A, be in a position to be once again elevated, which I'm sure he doesn't want to do, but you know, this is still a good position to be in that division, a hornet's nest of a division. He can be elevated up to a full WBA champion, putting him in position to unify with any of the other champions in the division, or obviously be a mandatory to Terrence Crawford if on the back end of a win or loss against Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford is looking for another big fight. I can tell you right now, I'm almost for sure Turkey Al-Sheikh would be willing to finance this fight. Big paydays for both these fighters. Big paydays for the boxing fans in the space that have been looking to see Terrence Crawford and Jaron Ennis go at it. This will put him in the right position, in my personal opinion, going towards in that direction. Now, he has an IBF title as well. Obviously, you would think he could leverage it and maybe get himself in position to fight against a Bakram Murtazaliev. In my personal opinion, I would like to see Jaron Boots Ennis get a couple of fights in at 154 pounds before he got in with potentially the boogeyman of the division, right? And maybe that fight could be even a bigger fight if there was actually a unification fight rather than him once again being caught up in a rehydration clause under that IBF to fight Bakram Murtazaliev. If he can collect himself a title and make it a unification fight, then he can skip that rehydration clause and it puts him in position to be as strong as he can be on the night's end. But needless to say, we'll wait for them to drop the news. This is just me sharing my perspective on what I think could happen, should happen, might happen, and reasons one way or another why it should or shouldn't happen. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Is this what we've been waiting for? Was this the right move on the back end of Jaron Boots Ennis not fighting against Teofimo Lopez and taking that payday and not hanging back and waiting for Brian Norman Jr. to negotiate a fight where he can unify and be and collect another belt in the division? Did this make the most sense for Jaron Boots Ennis? And who would you like to see Jaron Boots Ennis fight first at 154 pounds? Do you want to see him wait, go right in there and fight Virgil Ortiz? Or are we okay with seeing a Yoenis Tellez fight? Or maybe you guys want to see him fight maybe the winner of Xander Zayas and George Perez, right? Their schedule actually to fight in July, so they wouldn't be ready for September, August either, to be honest with you. So, you know, yeah, I think for me, Yoenis Tellez seems to be the fight for me. But let me know what you think. Put it in the comment section. Guys, it's your boy Rain. This is that ATP Combat Media Show. Thank you to all my subscribers, man. The channel's been growing slow, but for sure, you know, we've been moving forward. I know I could be more consistent with the content, but we got a personal life that we're running over here. Like I said, I just had surgery a little over a week ago. Things are always coming up, and we're trying to stay consistent, but you know, we're giving it to you the way we can for now. I appreciate your patience with me, and appreciate your support for the channel. If this is your first time tapping into the content, I said in the beginning of the video, if you lasted this long, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit your bell notification so you are getting all those notifications when content like this is dropping. But until the next piece of content I drop, it's your boy Rain. This is that ATP Combat Media Show. And at this point, we out. Peace.